Well, that tune was Going Down to Cairo, also known as Goodbye Liza Jane, played in the F tuning. The F tuning is a very fun and rich tuning for both clawhammer style as well as two-finger picking, and is maybe best known for The Hills of Mexico, played in that tuning by Roscoe Holcomb and covered by many other people since then. If you're not real familiar with the F tuning, this video is here to help you get started with it. I'll show you what the tuning is, how to get into that tuning from other common tunings. We'll look at some of the attributes of the tuning, and then we'll just look at the three basic chords for this tuning. And armed with that, you should be able to go back, listen to my Going Down to Cairo video again, and you'll see a tab linked in the description of this video for Going Down to Cairo. And once you get the essence of this lesson down, go ahead and give Going Down to Cairo a try. It's just based on the three basic chords we're going to cover here. Okay, let's start with what is the F tuning? Well, from 5th string to 1st string, the tuning is F, D, G, C, D. So, now if you look at that tuning that I have up here on the screen, you might notice that it's basically the G sawmill tuning, with the exception that the 5th string is dropped from a G to an F. Otherwise, the other 4 strings are tuned exactly the same as G sawmill. So, it's not that far from that tuning. If, for example, you're in the standard G tuning, first go into the G sawmill tuning by tuning your 2nd string up from a B to a C, and then just drop the 5th string from a G to an F. If you're in the double C tuning, it's also pretty easy to get into the F tuning. All you have to do now is change your 4th string from a C to a D. That puts you right into the G sawmill tuning because our 2nd string already is tuned to a C. And then once again, all you have to do is drop the 5th string from a G to a F. So whether you're in G sawmill, whether in standard G or in double C tuning, it's pretty easy to get the F tuning from any of these tunings with just either 1 or 2 string changes. No massive retuning of the banjo there. So a few other notable aspects about the tuning. Number one, the obvious, this allows you to play in the key of F. Well, why is that a big deal? Sometimes it's just cool to have the banjo at a lower pitch. For example, Goodbye Liza Jane, Going Down to Cairo is usually played in the key of G. Maybe somebody would capo up to A because they want to sing it in A or something like that. But if somebody said, I can sing it in the key of F better than the key of G. Well, if you're in standard G and you're thinking, oh man, I've got to retune all the strings on my banjo to go into the key of F. Well, you don't have to. If you know the F tuning, you just change 2 strings and you're ready to go into the key of F. Also, sometimes it's just cool to have the banjo pitched lower. It just sounds different. It sounds better. Gives it a different resonance, a different feel. Also, if you put a capo at the 2nd fret when you're in the F tuning, and then bring the 5th string back up to G, you're now in an alternate G tuning. And in fact, people call that either the Cumberland Gap tuning, or now a lot of people call it the Sandy River Bell tuning. Another cool thing about this is almost all the fretted notes that you're going to play are either at the 2nd or the 3rd fret, largely because that's when you make the chord forms in this tuning. Your hand doesn't have to fly all over the fingerboard to play a lot of melodies. So it's a very compact tuning in terms of accessing basic melody notes. And then lastly, this is what I would call a very chord-centric tuning, meaning that if I strum on all the open strings, it's not an open chord tuning like standard G. Actually, the root chord, the F, is a 3-finger chord, as we'll see. So you have to use chord shapes in this tuning in order to make pleasant noise on the banjo, so to speak. And because of that, it's good for big full brushes. These chords, when you brush on them, they sound great. Also, even though it's very chord-based, you can do a lot with those 3 basic chords. And as you'll see in a second here, it's relatively easy to change chords. Let's take a look at the basic chords. And all I'm going to do is show you the basic 1, 4, 5 chords, the 3 standard chords that are common in most major keys. We weren't going to go into a whole lot of other chords here. And there are not a lot of other chords to learn in this tuning. For the key of F, our 1, 4, and 5 chords would be F, B flat, and C. If we were in standard G tuning, or I capoed up to make this an alternate G tuning, we would think of the 1, 4, 5 chords as being G being the root, the 1 chord, C being the 4 chord, and then D being the 5 chord. So just take each one of those chords or notes down 1 step, and you end up with F for 1, B flat for 4, and C for 5. Let's start with the root chord, the 1 chord, the F chord. And move the neck up closely here. So the first thing you want to do is take your middle finger, put it on the 4th string at the 3rd fret. Then take your pointer or index finger, put it on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Leave the 2nd string open, and then put your ring finger on the 1st string at the 3rd fret. Let me strum. Beautiful full chord right there. Really sounds good. Now let me point something out. Imagine for a second that I was back in standard G tuning and I wanted to make an F chord. That would be a full 4-finger chord that would look like this. So my pointer finger would be up on the 2nd string at the 1st fret, middle finger down on the 3rd string, 2nd fret, ring finger on the 4th string, 3rd fret, and then pinky over here on the 1st string, 3rd fret. I'm not going to strum it. Well, I will strum it. Doesn't sound right. It's discordant. Why? Because we've tuned the 2nd string up a half step from a B to a C. So there's no reason that we need to put our finger at that fret. We want that as an open string. So there it is. That's our F chord. So it's the same shape that we would use in the standard G tuning minus holding down the 2nd string because we've tuned that string up. And then we'll use different fingers in order to go into that shape. So there's your basic F chord. Let's go to the B flat, the 4 chord from there. Very simple maneuver. Leave your ring finger down on the 1st string. We're going to pick up our pointer finger and our middle finger and shift them from the 3rd and 4th string just over to the 2nd and 3rd string. So pick up and bring them over. And it's going to form this triad-like thing here. So we've just picked up from the F shape, move those 2 fingers over. And that's our B flat chord, our 4 chord. So the going from the F to the B flat is pretty easy. You have your ring finger anchored on the 1st string, so you don't have to pick up all your fingers and rearrange it. You just have to shift that pointer and middle finger around. Again, very compact. All right there at the 2nd and 3rd fret. Okay, lastly, let's think about the 5 chord, which would be the C chord. Let's start from our root position, our F chord. Here's what we do. Pick up your pointer finger and then shift your middle and ring finger down a half step to the 2nd fret. It looks like the E minor shape in the standard G tuning, but in this tuning it becomes a C chord. There it is. Going from the root F chord to the 5 chord, the C chord, is a pretty easy change. So, F, B flat, F again, C. 3 chords in the truth right there. That's all you need to get started. Get used to these chord shapes. Start moving around between these chords, strumming or playing bum ditty rhythms or some rhythm that, maybe double thumbing, whatever you want to do. Get some muscle memory going, making shifts between those 3 chords. And then after you do that, start spicing it up a little bit by throwing in some hammer-ons and pull-offs as you're noodling around. Just experiment with that. You're going to find some very pleasing sounds that come out of that. And then, when you get comfortable with all that, go grab my tab for going down to Cairo. It's linked in the description. Listen to my version again. And by the way, watch closely my fretting hand. You see the changes between the chord shapes that I'm making and how compact it is. And then give it a go. I think you can figure this one out on your own with the video, the tab. Have a lot of fun with it. There you are for getting started on the F tuning. And by the way, I do have a playlist on my YouTube channel of all the tunes that I've played in the F tuning. It's about a half dozen or so, but you can listen to those as well. And I think most of them have a link tab with them, maybe not all of them. Hey, do a YouTube search for the F tuning or whatever, or Hills of Mexico. Check that out. A lot of people play it in this tuning. and just get your ear into it and get your fingers into it and get started. Okay, have fun and keep on picking.